Good after evening or morning, whatever you want to call it. But the point is, we're back for another podcast, and it's been a while. It's been too long of a while, but we're back. And I know many of you are grunting and sighing, but you have to listen to us anyway.
I know my sister said something. She's our only subscriber, so our entire community is raging right now. They're just horribly depressed that we haven't been coming out with new videos.
They're
To
horribly
quote
depressed.
to quote the angst-filled statement of my sister. Hey, you guys have only like 2 videos. It's been a while. Yeah. Woo. That's pretty scary right there.
Yeah.
So we've been hard pressed to continue pumping out content for you starving fans.
Yeah, since the release of our second video, and over the time span, you could see the internet getting progressively more and more excited, hoping that this channel would finally die in a pit of fire. But nope, we're back.
We're back, and we're worse than before.
You can't get rid of us now. We're a parasite.
Yeah. We're like that fungus that eventually grows on you. No pun intended. Actually, pun completely intended. Yep. All right. So, our first video, we kind of went over Pokemon Go, and there's been another game that's come out, a not free game, but one that both of us. It's recently come out, and it's very popular. You probably know either A from.
You probably know. No
B
pun intended. No pun intended. You probably know what it is.
Yeah, and plus mostly because, like, you know, it's in the title of the video probably, or like on the little picture that we have up. There's like a big hint that gives it away. But we're gonna be talking about a No Man's Sky. The $60 magical game that takes you through space as a dude, right? And you just kind of fly around and stuff. So,
yeah, as a dude,
game,
that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah. This game had a lot of hype, and I think there were certain people who realized like it was too much hype and it couldn't be that good. And
yeah.
I feel like we were perhaps those people, and so we weren't like. I wasn't like disappointed as like some people were. I know a lot of people have been, but I think a lot of people think that the game was overhyped, and that's definitely not the first time that like that's happened with a video game.
Yeah, just take Ubisoft for example.
Oh yeah, Ubisoft, like, or I don't know, like Smash Bros. 4. It was good, but it wasn't as good as a lot of people thought, so it got a little bit of hate because of that. So I think this is just one of those like maybe overhyped games, and there's like the biggest thing I think is like, well, with any game like this is like a unique game for sure.
Absolutely.
We won't really like describe it in detail for you. Like you probably need to look somewhere else if you want to understand what we're like really going through in this game. But
or play the game. That's also a good option.
Yeah. Play the game. Make sure I'd be very careful before buying the game, but because and we'll kind of get into that later. But so No Man's Sky is kind of like a lot of people with this like weird uniqueness that you got, right? It's a tad buggy and
just a tad,
mostly
just a tad,
just a tad. I've already had an instance where I've like walked into there's like these little there was like these blades of grass growing, right, and I walked into one of the like a little outpost, and there's this building on the side, and I walked into it, and the grass had just like clipped through the floor, so it just like the grass just went through the floor. There's little like they're kind of like cattails, but I guess like they look kind of like a real life plant. They're kind of like those
cattails.
Like cattails.
You mean like those plants that look like corn cobs? Sort of?
Yeah,
like corn dogs,
yeah.
Small.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they look like corn dogs, but they're not like cattails because they got green on the ends, not... there's like a real...
I wish they were corn dogs.
Yeah, they look a lot like... But anyways, they were like clipping it through the floor. Of course, you can go online and probably find like way more glitchier things than grass going through the floor. But
oh, yeah.
I've only I've been playing less than 10 hours, and I already encountered a bit of an issue, but I'm not like crying about it because I don't think it wasn't like game ruining. Oh my gosh, grass going through the floor. Oh,
Oh
uninstall,
my gosh.
refund. Yeah,
Yeah.
not that big of a deal. Um, for me personally, because I'm used to kind of like low quality games. Like I've got a like for example, I'm not like bashing TF2 or anything, but I've got TF2, which is like it got a good bit of bugs in it. Uh, I've got Gary's mod, which is literally just a bug. Goat Simulator, which
Just
is
a bug.
literally
It's a parasite.
and
It's more than a bug. It's a
yeah,
parasite.
yeah, and then Goat Simulator, which like they encourage bugs being in the game. So it's gonna take a um it's gonna take a good bit more than that to make me, And then of course
Yeah.
like the Elder Scrolls Skyrim, where you literally just can't ride horses. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I played the
It's
game
good.
for a couple hours. I got it. I installed it a couple days ago, and so I've been playing it. And so it hasn't been as bad as people have told me it is. And I guess the reason why people say it's so bad is because it really it didn't meet their expectations because, like you said, it was overhyped, way out of
Yeah,
proportion. But I haven't encountered any bugs except for like an occasional frame rate drop. But even
yeah,
even if I did see a bug, I mean I know it's an experience and you're trying to live your life through this character who you can't even see, but you're trying to live your life
yeah,
through him. But in the like all in all, it's still a game. If there's a glitch, I understand. I don't. It doesn't take me out of the
yeah.
experience so much, but
Yeah, there's been a
you
lot
know.
of. I know there's been at least like 4 patches like already, and the game's been out for way less than a month.
Yeah,
So
so
they are
yeah, Hello
doing things.
Games is really good at keeping up with their game. They didn't just drop it and
Well,
step back,
well, it's
which is
literally like
terrible.
it's literally like the only thing that Hello Games is working on right now. So I think we're okay. Well, there's like a whole team of people. So I wouldn't be like, if there's something like miserably wrong right now, I wouldn't say it's not going to get fixed. I think there's like those
Right.
issues will hopefully be fixed in the near
So
future, and
far,
they've
they've
said stuff
seemed
about
pretty good about
fixing it.
fixing what's wrong.
But one thing No Man's Sky maybe hasn't been as good with is they've been not to say like they flat out lied, but they didn't really give like the truth about some things. For example, like two players can see each other's discoveries, so technically they can like meet each other, quote unquote, like
Right.
quote heavy quotation marks
It's
around the word
like you're
meet.
in the same universe, is the way I kind of
Yeah,
understand it.
but you
But
can't actually go up and high five the people that are exploring. So it's sort of like,
exactly.
yeah, so it's sort of like in the same timeline almost, but not actually. It's kind of weird. It's like you
Right.
can't. If you, so there was like two streamers, and there's these two people. They went and streamed their game, and they'd actually met and were looking at from the same exact point of view, but there was two things that were glaringly wrong. One, of course, was they were standing in the pretty much exact same space and they couldn't see each other. And number two was they and then number two was like I think one of them the sky was a little different. Like one of them it was like
Right.
almost like a sunset, and then one of them was like nighttime or like bright day or
Yeah,
whatever.
the time of day was
So
off on those two pictures for
yeah,
the two
exactly. Yeah.
players.
So yeah, for the two players. So it's almost like it's happening in like alternate timelines, almost like every.
Right.
But
Well,
and
the
then
thing is,
one.
Hello
Yeah.
Games has constantly said like, "Oh, you can find other players, but it's very, very unlikely." And so the
Yeah.
unlikely supposedly happened, and so these two players met up on the exact same planet at the exact same time, and it didn't
Yeah.
happen. And Hello Games' response was that, "Hey, you're overloading our servers. That's why it's not happening." So
Right.
I
And well,
wonder if
and
that
that's
was just a ploy, or maybe their
well,
servers were
and
actually overloaded. We don't know.
one theory I've seen is like essentially what happened was they've like got people split up onto like different servers, so you'll be able to see like only select players will you be able to see like the ones that are set on your server, right? And then there
Right.
was I think another thing was like also like I think another thing people were really mad about is when they said like No Man's Sky said this isn't, but remember guys, this isn't a multiplayer game, and then immediately and then like a few post on that social media platform or whatever later they said hey, guess what? We're adding this thing to make it easier to find other players. So like,
What is that
eh,
about?
yeah. So
I'm
yeah,
glad they're adding that, but that does
I think
not
they
go
did
along
this.
with what they've been saying.
People really just want them to give like a solid answer and just say, so are we going to be able to see other players or not? And they
Yes.
really haven't done that.
Is it single player or
So,
not? Because if you say you can see other players, then
well,
I'm
even
gonna
well,
expect it's
even that
multiplayer.
isn't. Yeah, even that isn't clear enough because like
Right.
they just even if they just said, oh, it's single player, that even that's not clear enough because clearly we're in the same universe. But so they just need like a
Yeah.
very clear, solid answer
Either
with that.
it's probably the reality is probably it's so complicated, and whether the line between multiplayer and single player is so interloped and twisted and knotted in some places that they just can't explain it to the dumb public in a
Yeah,
140 characters. So
yeah.
they've just been going back and forth, it seems like.
Right. Well, and that's one thing. Another thing that people have been really and this isn't just all bashing No Man's Sky. I think later on we'll probably go into like getting some good things, but like
Some slightly better things.
some slightly better things. One thing that people have been a little like upset about is like speaking of like other people, like if you go on these planets, literally every single I'm like 99% sure like every single planet that you go to has some sort of like has like a
Like a
space
trading
station
post?
with
Yes.
yeah, it has like a space station or trading post with a dude in it that you like one of the three one of the three intelligent alien species on it. Let's
Yeah.
call them that. I've encountered one. I have a hyperdrive, but I wanted to. I have a hyperdrive, but I wanted to like explore the four planets in the like system that I'm in, and I've only looked at really three, so I'm gonna wait and look at this last one beforehand. But the so it, like uh so like you go to these planets that are quote undiscovered and you're
Mm-hmm.
naming your own species and stuff, but everything already is like everything's already like settled and sure
Exactly.
there's like
Everything already has a name, is what I noticed. And there's
and
really
sure there's
weird, like, Latin names, too. Doesn't make any sense.
yeah, they're like weird Latin names, but you can rename them. That's not like a big deal. But
How do you do that?
oh, you go in to rename them. If you don't know, you just press escape, and then you can look into your discovered things, and then you just mouse over something you want to rename, and then hold that like on the PC, you hold the X button. On the I'm sure it's probably different on the Xbox or PlayStation or whatever. I know it's not an Xbox, but the PlayStation or whatever. But
It will be on Xbox, probably. That has been
apparently, yeah,
rumored
I
that
don't
it
know.
could be on Xbox One. But
I
that's
don't know.
later point.
Yeah, and then I think so I think, but here's one thing. I think most people that are like disappointed with the game are like, oh, it's too short. But they also like have essentially what a lot of people do is they don't like take time to like smell the flowers.
Yeah.
It's sort of like if you've played one comparison I think is really good is if you've played like the Elder Scrolls Skyrim, you can play to well, I had one friend, right, and he downloaded the game and he played it in a really weird way. Most of the time when people like play Skyrim, they just kind of as they go along they play like the side quest. They get like the extra they build up the extra XP and the extra gold and whatnot so that they can like level up and get better for that final fight, right, and be more
Exactly.
prepared.
Yeah.
However, there's not as much of a leveling up system, so it's a little like easier to get materials to move on, because there's not like much holding you back other than just gathering enough materials to for your hyperdrive and whatnot. So
Right.
so people have been playing almost like it would be, and you can play Skyrim by just like going and even though it's a lot harder that way, if you just like go straight for Alduin, the big dragon at the end, or go straight to the big war that's like a big premise of the game, and just go like right into that and try and like beat it that way, you will beat the main storyline, but it's going to be a lot less fun because you miss those like side quests. It's
Exactly.
it's like it's so difficult, it's not fun. Like it would be like, if I know like Dark Souls is one of those games that's like super difficult, but it's not so difficult, it's not fun per se, because it's like you have to like strategize a lot. With that at that point you just be like, it would be so difficult that there could only be one way you could go about it to successfully complete it, like
Right.
in the Elder Scrolls Skyrim, you would have to like, you could only fight people by like running away and shooting arrows at them if you're at a really low level, because like one hit is going to kill you, you know so
Mm-hmm.
and it's sort of the same way in No Man's Sky. Like there was a guy who did like get fairly lucky, and he got like in 30 hours of gameplay, he was already in the middle of the in 30 hours of gameplay, he was in the middle of the universe. And and you think, well, $60 games, that's like $2 per hour for a game, which is like pretty bad for that, the value of what you're putting into it.
Right.
Compared to a lot of games, like,
And considering it's so buggy, when you start to go into it, it like lowers its value even more.
yeah, like, so yeah, and it's so super buggy, and like, but the fact that it's buggy, I mean, like, I'm not gonna really go over the fact that it's buggy, because there's like rants and rants and rants and rants on that.
Yeah, just
But,
go on Google and look up No Man's Sky glitch, and you'll be
yeah,
flooded with everything
or
you ever
just
wanted to know.
simple, straightforward game crashes are very common. I know, like, whenever if I just alt tab out of the game, it crashes. So, yeah, that's an issue I've kind of had. But so I just don't alt tab out of the game. But I think the people that I looked at one review, and I think the people that enjoy it more are the ones who like take time to smell the flowers. They don't rush in and try and get to the center of the galaxy. I think it's important that you take it kind of slow and don't. I think you can do that, and you can go straight for the center, but I think it's better just like every solar system you get to, take a peek at like the planets, go around,
Right.
make sure there's like things you sort of get, like, because there's only so many like encounters that you can have per se, but like
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's a big thing, is like there's kind of like that repetitiveness of each planet.
Yeah.
But I think if you really take time and like aggressively stay on a planet and look at it and really like soak it in, you kind of become attached, and you enjoy the game more. That's
Right. Well, No Man's Sky to me is an open world game, an open world in every definition of open world, because there was literally several quintillion planets and solar systems that you can go to. And that might be for everybody, which is like tons and tons of people, but it's still going to take probably a couple years for them to discover it all, which is incredible.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, and
yeah,
you
like
have to,
you
like,
said,
there's so much stuff just on one planet. Like, well, and
exactly.
There's a guy who beat it who was at the center of the universe in 30 hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing for almost 10 hours. Like it says 9 hours I've played. Steam isn't like super accurate with that, but
Yeah,
I've been playing for just a little less than 10 hours. But I'm still on the same, like, I could leave. Like, I have the hyperdrive, right? So I could leave the solar system if I wanted to. But I've just stayed on the one, and I've enjoyed it a little. However, not to say that like, oh, you guys are all wrong. It's actually a good game. It's just kind of, I think, like the approach. Maybe take that different approach, and you'll find it more.
I think it depends on your play style, because some people they're completionists. They wanna get through the game, like finish the main storyline, get it over with, move on to the next one. And then there are the people that like, right. But even in No Man's Sky, getting all the achievements is gonna take a little while, because
getting all the achievements in No Man's Sky, though, like, I've been playing for a bit, and like, let me see, I haven't been playing super long, and I have definitely not achievement hunted at all, and I've already got like 14% of the achievements, which seems like not that much, but it's 3 out of 22, and that's from like not even like trying to go for achievements. And one big thing is, speaking of the achievements, they are like getting one is the worst feeling in the world.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
everything getting an achievement, because even though there's only like 22 in game, like there's 22 Steam achievements, right, for it, but in game there's a little more achievements, you know.
Yes.
There's like almost like 10 levels for like alien colonist encounters, and then 10 levels for your like words collected status, and then 10 levels for your units acquired, and like a couple other ones too. But for every single one that you get,
Yes.
every single like one of those 10 levels, there's so which is probably like over 50 like No Man's
Yeah,
Sky
tons
achievements.
and tons of achievements.
Huge. And a lot of them are for minor things. This huge thing just takes up your entire screen and lets you know that you got the achievement. Like,
Yes.
and it's not even like a flash, like a big thing, and then it's gone. It just takes like it's a solid like 5
It's like,
to 10 seconds.
yeah,
of
it's
you
almost 15 seconds of you
you
can't
being-
do anything. You're just
of you
looking at
being-
words on a screen.
and it's like 15 seconds of you almost not being able to play, because you can still see stuff in the background. You can still move around, but you can't see your cursor. You can't see if you can collect something from that container, or if it's just like a decoration. You can't. You can't.
Yeah, exactly. And the weird part about that is that they are really awkwardly delayed. So one of the achievements I got was learn 10 words from this language. And so how I
Yeah,
got
and they're
that
like-
was I talked to the
A
guy.
solid minute of delay, right?
Right, I talked to the guy and I learned a couple words. Then I walked away. A couple minutes later, I'm like wandering around trying to collect materials, and then this huge thing pops up, said, "You learned 10 words. Congratulations." I didn't learn any words from the wild. It's been a long time since I did that.
Yeah, it usually takes me like at least like a solid minute before it says like acknowledges that you got the achievement, right?
Exactly.
It's just maybe like too many, or like too big of a deal with too many achievements and too big of a deal. If it was just like a little thing upper right hand corner, like ding, hey, new achievement.
Yeah.
This is my final like negative thing on No Man's Sky,
And then we'll move to the positives, maybe.
and then we'll move to the positives, and I'm pretty much done with my angry rant. There's like a lot of things they do not tell you how to do.
Oh, yes.
There's games I think I've played where they hang you out to dry a good bit more than this. But especially for the amount of money that I put into it, like that you pay for it, just like it's just kind of like it's ridiculous, really. Like it's just like there's like so many like little buttons on your screen, like literally the entire right hand corner. You're like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
And, I don't know. This is the biggest confusion for me, but I know in the bottom right hand corner there's like that little there's a jetpack they've got, and then they've got like a little jetpack meter, and then your sprint meter. Then there's also like this shield meter thing or whatever. And
Oh, yeah.
it's not your shields that you have for your health, and it'll like turn red, and you're like, is that like my wanted thing? But I thought the wanted thing was the thing in the up right hand corner with the little stars. So like I don't know, like
Yeah.
There's not a lot of clarity there.
Like, I've been playing the game for almost 5 hours, and I still don't know what half the stuff on my HUD is.
Yeah.
It's just,
So,
they don't, and they also don't
Yeah.
explain a lot of things to you. The like, the essence of learning what's going on is going out and getting all these materials and coming back and figuring out what the heck you can do with them, which is kind of good because it's an exploration game, and that kind of sets the tone for, oh yes, I am
Yeah.
the only person here. I have to like provide for myself.
Yeah.
But I paid $60 for this game, and with the bugs, I'd like to know at least what's going on before I get set out on this adventure, where I can, immediately die. So
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, we can move on to the positives now.
All right.
I'm sure the internet has had enough of our rants about No Man's Sky.
Yeah. If you really want to see a rant, you could like literally like almost every channel has got like some sort of smack talk on No Man's Sky, and like, whoa, this game's terrible. But
Yeah.
I think the positives are I think it's way underrated. I don't think it's again I don't think it's I don't think it's maybe it may not be my favorite game ever,
Right, it's
but I
probably not
really
game
really
of the
like it.
year or anything. I don't know about
Yeah,
that, but
but I still really really like it. And like I said, if you like take time, there's just so much on. I didn't realize like how much you could do just on like one planet, and just like how much you could explore and do. And like to be fair, like sometimes you have to be get kind of lucky on the planets, like because not all of them are great. Like I've gone so right now I've encountered 3 planets. Right, the first one I went to was like a pretty cold one, and the first and last one I've been to have been like both pretty cold, and but one of them was like full of like animals and plants and stuff. I've already discovered all of them, uh, and like the second one was, and then the next second one I went to, it was like a bunch of little like islands, right? And it was really cool, and it was like this big vast ocean, and it was like just full of stuff. However, like I think the creatures in it weren't as cool, and like the plants maybe weren't as cool, but like the planet itself was a little cooler. And then the last one I went to was like basically like a mining planet, right? Like there was just materials there to get. There was like maybe 3, 4 types of plants and not a single animal in sight. So I landed on that one saying to myself like, oh, if this is that bad, I don't really want to spend that much time on this planet. And I spent like an hour on the planet just getting like the resources and taking advantage of
exactly.
that and exploring the little like colonist outpost there, and just like kind of hopping in my ship and going around. So you can still get so much enjoyment even on those like really crappy planets without much on them. I mean, like I haven't run into a particularly bad planet. That's probably been the worst one. That was like no animals whatsoever. But there were still a few things to keep me entertained.
Right.
So I've got one more planet that I've got an entire other planet that I want to like look at before I even like go to a different system. Um, but and like leave this one behind. I really kind of don't want to still, because there's like still there's only one planet where I've like discovered everything on and named everything on and completely like unlocked all the mysteries of, you know. So uh, and like and the part of it is like this mystery of the races and what they stand for. And like sure, you've got the like the one I've messed around with right now is like the warrior race, like the Viking or whatever,
Oh,
uh,
yes.
which seems almost like a play on the word Viking, like a little,
Viking. It does
uh,
seem like that.
but even them, they're like, you would think like, oh, they're like just simple-minded like warriors, like smash, bash everything. But when you and like all their names are just like different like military ranks followed by like a weird like alien name or whatever, like Lieutenant blah blah blah, and but
Zingong. Or something,
yeah,
you'd
yeah,
imagine.
Lieutenant Hoobadoob. But you eventually like uh, after a little while, like you learn more about them, and for example, like they are really against the little sentinels that are on the planets. You know that like the police,
Just like
which
me.
actually
I
some
am
of
very
them,
against those as well.
yeah, I actually really like I kind of like them because they give you. I think a lot of people are like, oh no, they limit the game too much, but they're sort of like in GTA 5, like the police cars that drive around, and like
Right.
every once in a while you do something stupid, like you hit another car and there's no police around, and you're like, whatever, no one cares, but you have to kind of be on the lookout for them, and they just add an extra element of like difficulty to the game, but not to the point where it's like insane.
But not
Like
struggle. It's
yeah,
challenging, but it's not struggling.
yeah, you don't like if you play smart and kind of like go a little ways away from the outpost and kind of like don't mess with them, and you play, if you play it smart you can avoid them. Granted, like the ones I've been on have like I know different planets have different levels of sentinels on them, so like a different amounts of sentinels, and the ones I've been on either have like they either have like a very like an average sized amount of sentinels or like a lower amount of sentinels. So like I'm kind of curious to see what one that's like a planet that's plagued by sentinels, like everywhere is
Play.
like
It's just the sky is
it's
like
just
what are
sentinels. Yeah,
yeah, it's just sentinels, and they're all different
yeah.
colors to look like the sun and stuff. But it's just sentinels, and
Oh
if you
yeah,
try
yeah.
to
It's like
destroy
it
anything, you're
looks like
done.
the sky. It looks like the sky, and then you try to fly out of it, and you realize they have to part out of the way so for your ship to get through, and you're like,
Like,
oh,
oh,
sentinels.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I have
Well,
So yeah, I haven't really had like a problem with them, and I've been playing for almost 10 hours. But I think that's also because I've like gone out of my way not to encourage them, which seems like it'd be really annoying and challenging. But it
yeah.
hasn't been too bad.
You don't want to be too
So
motivational to the
that's
sentinels.
my
You don't want to give them
that's
too
my
many motivational
that's my
speeches.
positive of the game. I don't think the Sentinels are really that bad. I think some people are like, oh, the Sentinels are like literal like the worst thing about the game. They absolutely ruin it. It's like the worst part. I completely disagree. I don't think they're really that bad.
Yeah,
So
I think it's a good way to like keep you in check because sometimes you
yeah,
get carried away destroying everything in sight that you see, but that also destroys the beauty of the game, and the Sentinels kind of put you in check and make sure you don't take
yeah,
away what a beautiful game it is.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. I do. I think I don't have an issue with them. So
yeah,
yeah, that's one of my positives is the Sentinels for sure.
yeah. Well,
And then
I'm gonna say a little, sort of a closing note because we're approaching
yeah,
the time limit.
yeah,
But
I think we're
right.
done.
So
Yeah.
all in all, I have really enjoyed No Man's Sky, and yes, it was probably very overhyped because I think the first time I heard about this game was a year ago, and so I've been thinking about it like most days for an entire year about this game, and so I'm not too uh, disappointed with what Hello Games created, and definitely they had great intentions, and they definitely, you know, if someone had never heard of this game, they would have completely amazed them with what it is now.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah, definitely.
absolutely incredible game, and I think one of the things that I personally love about this game is making your mark on this universe. So you can go out and name creatures and name planets, and if someone else comes across it, then it's named. You left your mark on the universe, and now no matter how small of a mark that is, it just feels so satisfying to have made a
Because it's an
difference in a
entire planet. Even
yes,
though it's really small in this game, it's an
right.
entire
It's an
planet.
entire planet, one in like 15 quintillion, but it's an entire planet. Like
Right.
we on Earth, we only live on one entire planet, so that's pretty significant. So it's just
Yeah.
so satisfying to do that and to just learn about everything because I was playing today. I came across an outpost and with a little building on it, and so I went inside the building, and there were like slimy tentacles like coming out of the walls, and I, went up to some of the terminals and learned more about it. But the interesting thing is that it seems like every planet and every place on the planet has its own story, which makes it a massive story for this entire universe. And just learning about that is so interesting. And of course, some people are not going to be interested by that because they're, already out the
You don't
door
like that
playing this
aspect.
game by now. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's one of the things that I love about it so much.
All right. Well, here's my closing remarks, and then I guess we'll wrap it up. I think it's made for kind of like a specific type of player. I think you have to kind of like that genre, or you're gonna absolutely hate No Man's Sky. You have to actually, you have to kind of look at it and not fall for the hype and like analyze it and say, is this something I think I'd really enjoy before
Absolutely.
you go out and buy it. I think a lot of people thought it would be more like maybe more like Minecraft and less like didn't see the exploration-y aspect
Yeah,
of it as
because
much
it
and
is
didn't enjoy that.
essentially it is an exploration game and is not
Yeah,
much
and
more than that.
Minecraft has an exploration aspect, but you can't say like, oh, the Minecraft is the main point, the driving force of Minecraft is exploration, because it's not really, because all the caves kind of look the same, and it's just like different shapes of caves, not like different types of planets as much, and there's more like resource gathering and mob fighting and stuff in Minecraft for sure. and like that kind of survival aspect. This is not Minecraft. There is similarities for sure, but it's it's a little different. You have to have you have to enjoy like a different type of game before getting this. So yeah, I definitely I think that's the big thing is it's like it appeals to a certain type of player. I think maybe it was like I think maybe it was overhyped, but I still think it's good, and hopefully they add some changes for some of the bugs and stuff. I mean, one of the issues is like how can you change the game so just like because it's such a massive game, how can you change it without like it's like almost like if you have everyone like playing an FPS like let's say everyone's playing Call of Duty right on the same server, like how do you like fix the game, like fix the map so that like the people on the map that are in these weird places that you're fixing don't like fall into nothingness, and then how do you fix it kind of is like it's really hard to like fix some of these problems with other than minor bug patches and preventing the game from crashing. So I'm curious to see how they approach updates to the game in the future. I know a major update would be kind of weird because like what exactly could you add that wouldn't like, screw
Exactly.
things up?
Because if you start adding more and more, it becomes a different game than what you intended it to be.
Yeah, and it could like even if it doesn't do that, it could like kind of screw up or cause more problems.
Right.
So,
I think one example of that was LucasArts, is they made the original Star Wars films, and then he just wanted to go back and change things and add things, and so the newest version of those really old movies is a lot less cool than the originals. So that's kind of an example of what we're talking about. But go ahead, Pickles.
all right, so I think that just about wraps it up. I mean,
I think so too. I think we've talked
No Man's
for
Sky
long
may be
enough.
overrated, but maybe a little like overhyped, but I think underrated. So that's pretty much my take on it.
Yep.
I think that
I guess it's one of those games that not everyone would love, but some people can really love this game, and I am one of those people. And so is you.
Well, if you like the video, hit the like button. If you hated it,
smash it,
dislike it, and
punch it.
leave a terrible comment about why you hate us. For
Yep.
every person that likes this, you will get a free pile of pasta salad
Yes.
inside of your dumpster.
What kind of pasta
nearest
salad?
you.
What kind are we talking about there?
The
Mexican?
green kind.
The
green
the green kind.
Yep.
I love the green kind. That's my favorite. All right.
Bye.
Bye. Outro music.
music.
Outro music.